You've probably heard of a cheese called halloum or halloumi. And if you're not sure what it looks like, this is it. Now, you find it in the supermarkets now, and it's plentiful everywhere. It's often served in restaurants. And you're probably wondering, what do I do with it? How do I cook it? How do I use it? There are hundreds of ways, and today I'm going to show you 2 of my favorite salads that feature this really yummy special cheese. Now, the first one, it's going to have watermelon in it, but I'm going to do a special dressing for it. And I start with my mortar and pestle, and here I have 1 clove of garlic, and then I'm going to add some milih, which is, you should know by now, I say it so often, it is salt. So I'm going to sprinkle some salt on top of my garlic. And this actually helps give it some friction so that when I'm pounding my garlic, that it becomes abrasive and helps it turn into a paste a lot faster. And it doesn't have to be a complete paste because we're going to actually puree all this together. I'll set this aside, bring my garlic, and put it inside this bowl. Okay? And then to the garlic, I'm going to add some raisins. Now, these are golden raisins that I have soaked in hot water to rehydrate them. Okay, so I want them to be nice and soft. So I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of these raisins that are really nice and tender right now. And then in addition to that, I have apricots, or in Arabic, we call apricots mishmish. It's a cute name. I'm going to put some apricots in there too, and I've done the exact same thing. These are dried apricots that I've soaked in boiling hot water just to let them rehydrate. Fresh lemon juice that I've squeezed, I'm going to add that as well. Now, if you have one of these immersion blenders, or if you have just a little food processor, it would do the same thing. Directly inside the bowl. Try not to make a big mess. Advise is to do it in a bowl that is relatively deep. You could even do it in a jar. It's getting pureed. Okay, my favorite Palestinian olive oil here. I'm going to add that while I puree. And you just keep on doing it till you get a nice creamy consistency. I can taste the sweetness of the raisins and the apricots. The lemon comes in, nice acid to balance all that sweetness. And of course, the olive oil mellows everything out. So this is going to be the perfect dressing for my salad. We're going to actually fry the halloumi cheese. So what I've done to prepare it for frying, I've cut up halloumi in 2 different shapes. And the reason for that is one of them is going to be this shape for one salad, and the bigger one is for the other salad. And you'll see why later on when I put it together. This is one of the reasons why this particular cheese is so special. You can actually fry it and it's not going to disintegrate. It holds its shape and its texture. A little bit of beautiful, glorious liquid gold, and that's my clarified butter that I make. Okay, now you could definitely use oil if you don't want to use clarified butter, but why? Clarified butter gives it a beautiful, beautiful taste. It really, really does. And I know people fry or grill halloum without any fat at all and just, get grill marks, but you're missing out on a very, very special taste, and you won't get that crust when you do it the other way. So I'm going to start by putting in the block of halloumi that is the big one, and instantly you're going to get that sizzle, and the minute it makes contact with the pan, you're going to hear that beautiful sound. Now here are the smaller ones as well. All right, now it doesn't take very long. Remember, this is basically cooked, it's not raw. All I want to do is to get a nice crisp exterior. So I just want it to get nice and crunchy. I'm using a non-stick pan here to make things easier, and you could definitely use cast iron as well, would work well. And you see how quickly the halloumi starts to turn nice and golden. Now these are cooking up very fast because the temperature is just right. Just move them around using 2 forks, trying to get a golden crispy crust all around, at least 2 sides. If you want to crisp up the corners and all sides of the cube, go for it. but at least get 2. It has this high smoking point. It allows the exterior to crisp up and it doesn't actually melt inside. Now here's the big one. You see how beautiful that looks? Isn't that gorgeous? It's really delightful just to eat on its own. In the Arab world, we're used to eating halloumi cheese or these types of cheeses with for breakfast. So it would be part of a whole breakfast menu. You know, we'd have za'atar and, you know, cheese bread or manaish. We'd have all kinds of things and eggs, and this cheese would be served fried along with all the beautiful things that we have for breakfast. So these are done, and can you hear that? They're nice and crunchy and crisp. And my halloumi, this one is completely ready, and I'm going to take that as well and set it aside. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the first salad. So we fried the halloumi and it's still nice and hot. And this is also a key. You want your cheese for this particular salad to be hot or warm. So leave it till the very last minute. So what I start with was that beautiful dressing that we did. See how gorgeous it is? Nice and yellow. So I'm going to start first by putting a little bit of this dressing here, and then I'm going to make it expensive. Just like that, okay? And then I take one of my pre-cut watermelon and I'm going to place it right here on top so you can still see the dressing around it. And then I'm going to take my hot halloumi that's nice and crisp and put it right on top, okay? And then I like to give it a little bit of green, so we're going to dress it. So this is a salad. Now, of course, I'm doing it a little fancy schmancy right now, but you can imagine doing the very same thing that I'm doing in family style. Like you could actually cut a whole wedge of watermelon, fry the halloumi the same way I did, and just randomly put them on top and then, you know, dress them with the greens. So you don't have to do it this way. I just wanted to show you how it looks when you do it this way, and it's really nice and it's really special. And then I'm just going to dress it with a little bit of fresh pomegranate seeds. Okay, so staying sort of in the same, I mean, it's spring right now, and these are the kind of salads that are refreshing and light that I crave. And then it wouldn't be a Arab salad without pine nuts, okay? In Arabic, they're called snowbar. And I'm gonna just put a couple of them so you get a nice little crunch, okay? And that's it. Now, if you like, and sometimes I do, I will drizzle a little bit of oil on top, and that just sort of puts everything together, gives it a nice little glisten, and that would be my watermelon salad with fried halloumi. Remember, we're not just playing with salt and sweet, because you know the halloum is salty, the watermelon is obviously sweet, and the watermelon is cold and the halloum is hot. So it's hot, cold, salt, sweet. I don't know if this is a big bite, but I'm going to go for it. The dressing is just the perfect little punch because it's sweet, but it's tart. It's got the acidity that just balances the sweetness and the saltiness. Like it's a well-composed, balanced salad that I would love as a main course. You could have it aside with your barbecue. And like I said, serve it family style. It really, really, really is delicious. And that's it. For the second salad, it's a completely different dressing, but it's very, very simple. I first started out by pounding in my pestle and mortar 1 clove of garlic, fresh lemon juice. So it's very, very basic. And then I'm going to sweeten it up a little bit with some sugar and a sprinkle of melih. Okay, just mix that up. I add in an ingredient that is very, very popular now. People have discovered it. It's pomegranate molasses. So it's the cooked down juice of pomegranates that is, as you can see, look at how slow it's coming out of the bottle. It's really, really thick. So it's been cooked down, so a lot of the water has evaporated from it, so it becomes very, very thick. It's like thick balsamic vinegar. Whisk that together. So that's going to give it a nice tart, sweet, fruity taste. And then, of course, the most important thing in a dressing, or I mean, I wouldn't call this a vinaigrette, it's more a citronette because it has citrus in it rather than vinegar, is olive oil. So you pour in the olive oil and just whisk away with your fork or with a whisk until it all comes together and emulsifies a little bit. It gets a little thicker. Okay, and that's it. Dressing is made, and this salad doesn't have any tomatoes. I'm actually using grapes. So I'm using a combination of red grapes and green grapes for the acidity that would otherwise be in tomatoes. So it's the sweetness of the grapes that I'm after here. I've got some green onions as well that I just want to chop. And the onions also, well, it's another level, another flavor. There's a lot of flavors in this salad. And then here, you may or may not recognize, these are actually green almonds. In the spring, in the Arab world, these are in season, and this is what an almond looks like before it gets hard and the inside is all that's eaten. But while it's in this state, I've sliced it. I've just used a mandolin here, and I've sliced it to get thin little pieces. And basically, it's crunchy, and it's almost like a green apple. It's crunchy and tart. I also have some beautiful green olives that are cured, and these are Palestinian olives, and I love them because they have a little slight bitterness. Okay, they're not bland. They have a little bite to them, and they really go nice in the salad as well. I have basically a spring mix of, red lettuce, arugula. I also have a little bit of watercress, so it's just a combination. It's been washed and dried. And then I like to add in a little bit of fresh mint leaves as well. And, mint is beautiful to put in tea, of course, but, often in the Arab world, the way we cook and the way we eat, we treat mint leaves as a salad leaf, and we don't necessarily just use it for garnish. It's nice to eat with a salad. This is my almonds, my green almonds, and then my onions go inside, and then my grapes, all of the red and the green. So you've got all the beautiful colors. It truly is a spring salad. And then on top, I also add in my Palestinian olives. And don't overdo the dressing. There's nothing worse than soggy greens and soggy lettuce. So just put enough that it actually dresses it and, coats the leaves. Some fresh pomegranates, and there's that nice fruity crunch that is going to be complementary here. And then, of course, the star ingredient was our halloum that we fried. This is essentially instead of using croutons. So instead of using bread, I'm using cheese. This is a gluten-free salad. So there's no bread on it, but halloum. And then top it off with a little bit more olive oil. And that's it. Now, I wouldn't advise that you put your halloum hot in this case. It was good with the watermelon. Let it cool down. It'll still have that texture. Nothing is going to happen to it. And oh my God, that is just so good. That bite of the crispy halloumi that's salty with the grapes, and of course the dressing just pulls it all together. Now you have 2 new salads to add to your repertoire. The watermelon salad with halloum, so now you know what to do with that. And halloum as the main ingredient in this spring salad. Give it a try at your next barbecue, surprise your friends and family, and I hope you enjoy it. And we'll see you next time. Saha wa hena.